Why should you choose to study humanities next year? In humanities, we have 4 subjects: history, which is taught by Mrs. McDougall, Miss Todd, and Miss Gardner; RMPS, which is taught by Mrs. Cox and Miss Benhamou; modern studies, which is taught by Mr. Tweedy and Mrs. Holton; and geography, which is taught by Mr. Guthrie. The best thing about our subjects is that you don't just need to pick one, you could actually pick 2 or more.
Humanities lets you understand the world that we live in now and how it was shaped by past events. The subjects work well together, so you may want to take more than one.
Studying a humanity will allow you to develop a number of your key skills, such as communication, research skills, evaluation, decision making, debating, reaching justified conclusions, comparing evidence, and writing reports.
What careers are linked to our subjects? The answer to that is any job, really. Employers look for the skills that you have developed from the qualification you are studying. Humanities lets you put these sought-after skills into practice. If you choose to continue with history as you go into S3, you will start to learn about the following topics. The first topic that we will learn about is Era of the Great War, 1914 to 1918, where we look at World War I from a Scottish perspective. We look at a wide range of areas, such as life on the battlefield and in the trenches, to what life was like back at home for Scots who were helping from the home front to win the war. Secondly, we will learn about Hitler and Nazi Germany from the period of 1919 to 1939. As World War I ends and Germany are defeated, we will look at how Germany was transformed into a dictatorship under the Nazi Party. Finally, we will learn about the changes that took place in Britain between 1760 and 1914. Without these changes to transportation like the railways and canals, and to industries like textile factories and coal mining, we wouldn't have the society that we live in today. Lastly, history goes well with RMPS and modern studies if you're thinking about taking more than one humanities subject.
RMPS stands for Religious, Moral and Philosophical Studies. It can also be chosen as a subject on top of your one period of core. The following units are studied in the RMPS course. The R part of RMPS stands for Religious, and the first unit of study is a world religion. You will either study Buddhism or Hinduism. We explore the beliefs and practices of these world religions, and also look at how these religions can have an impact on their followers, both positive and negative. The second unit of study comes from the M part of RMPS, which is morality. Morality is all about asking, how do we know things are right from wrong? We will be exploring morality and justice in this unit, and asking ourselves questions such as, how should we punish those who commit crime? Why do people commit crime in the first place? Is the death penalty morally acceptable? The third unit of study comes from the P part of RMPS, where we look at philosophy. Now, philosophy is all about asking big questions. Big questions allow us to make sense of life, but they don't have set or definite answers, which can cause a lot of disagreement and debate. The 2 units within this section can either be origins or evil and suffering. For the origins section of the unit, we'll be asking questions such as, well, how did the universe and life come into existence? Did God create life, or did it just happen by chance? Can you believe in a creator God, but also accept scientific theories like the Big Bang and evolution? For the evil and suffering unit, we'll be asking ourselves some difficult questions regarding, why do we suffer? Why does evil exist in the world? Why can't we live in a world where everything is perfectly good? Surely if God is all loving and caring, God would stop suffering, but suffering still happens. RMPS goes hand in hand with subjects such as history and modern studies. We share very similar skills and content.
If you're thinking about taking modern studies moving into S3, which I hope you all are, we will be studying 3 main topics. The first main topic we will be studying is terrorism, and we will be looking at the causes such acts. We will be looking at the consequences of terrorism, who are impacted the most, how are different societies impacted, and finally we will be looking at the responses to this issue. What are governments and charities around the world doing to try and tackle the issue of terrorism? The second main topic we will look at is crime and the law. Again, it follows the same kind of structure as terrorism, where we will look at the causes of crime. Why do people commit acts of crime in Scotland and the UK? We will also look at the consequences of crime, who are impacted the most. And finally, we will look at responses to crime in Scotland and the UK, the prison system, and how governments have responded. Finally, the third main topic we will do in modern studies is democracy in Scotland, and this underpins the entirety of S1 to S6 modern studies, where we look at the inner workings of Parliament and how we can influence democracy as much as our MSPs do. So hopefully you all are thinking about taking modern studies, and I see you again in S3, and if you are, bear in mind that modern studies goes very well with history, RMPS and geography.
If you choose to study geography, you will look at 3 key areas relating to physical, human and global issues. Within physical geography, we learn about how the landscapes are created and altered over geological time in the glaciated uplands, rivers, valleys and coasts. In human geography, we look at the reasons behind the expansion and contraction of populations across the world, different types of agriculture within the UK, and the changes that have taken place in towns and cities to cope with the ever-increasing population. In global geography, we look at different countries across the world and how aspects such as tourism, trade, aid, health, and environmental hazards such as earthquakes and volcanoes affect the countries and the measures that are being used to try and combat these in relation to their development. Within some of these units, we will use map skills, which relate to the environment type we are studying. This will allow us to understand these environments further and help us to make decisions about them. Hopefully you can see there are lots of options for you in humanities. You can mix and match our subjects to a way which suits you best. But most importantly, we look forward to seeing you back in humanities soon.